Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Den 313 back with another episode. Hit that subscribe button before we get this thing moving. We put out our game day show the other day. We try to listen to you guys when you put out a request, man. A couple of people requested that we get that thing out a little bit sooner so you guys could watch it and poke through it. And then maybe we'd update some things if something new happened. So we did that. We're going to try it out and see how that goes. But if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check it out. We have some new news, a little bit of new news, a little bit of updates from the injury report. So, Steve, where you want to rock this thing first?
Geez, well, could you sound less interested that we're getting a captain back on defense before war? This isn't a game tomorrow night. This is a battle zone that the Vikings are coming into, and we need our captain on defense. Alex Anzalone activated off the IR. Now, doesn't mean he's guaranteed to play. Doesn't mean it's a guarantee or a slam dunk. But it is from what I've seen from reports and through practice this week, getting activated, sounds good, looks good. Alex Anzalone's getting his ass out on that field tomorrow night, William. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. How do you feel about the captain coming back?
Man, if he comes back, I'm going to be thrilled. But I'm trying to, as you can see, I'm trying to keep the expectations low. That way, when I see him come roaring out of that tunnel, I can just lose my mind and be excited. But when he did his interview earlier this week, he said he was weighing the options because he didn't want to do anything that could, potentially have a setback that would maybe cost him the playoff run. So they're working through that and they're navigating through it. I trust our team, organization, training staff, the players, all of the above. But man, if he's out there, it's over. I will say that if Alex Anzalone is on that field, it's over. My confidence goes from a 99.9% to probably, I'd say 131. 31 being obviously Kirby's digit because he's about to get a couple picks in this game. So, man, if Alex is out there, man, belt the ass. It's gonna be belt the ass anyways, but it might really be belt the ass. So that's how I'm feeling about it, Steve.
I was just going to ask you, is this like a move that moves the needle like at all for you? But I guess not really. If you're already 99.9% without him, it really doesn't move the needle that much. So for me, I don't know if this makes it like it makes me feel better. All right. It makes me feel better that we got not only just a leader on our defensive help in general at any point on this team is more than welcome. If it's defensive line, defensive backs, linebacker, doesn't matter. We're getting closer. And I know we'll never get those week one starters all the way back because we ain't getting Hutch back until the Super Bowl. But this is just at least some positive news that I think Lions fans, we deserve. All right. This has been, for winning 14 games, this has probably been the most emotional roller coaster of a season that I can remember. Like, we're winning football games, but at what cost? All right. Like, we're dominating teams. I think he got hurt in it's either the Jacksonville or the Tennessee game. I can't quite remember, but either way, I know both those games were blowouts. And it's like, yeah, we won the game, but did we lose the war? Like, was it worth it? Same thing with Aiden Hutchinson against the Dallas Cowboys. Like, went down there, the game I had circled on the schedule. I want my revenge. My revenge didn't taste as sweet because we lost Aiden Hutchinson. So it's like this 14-win season's been amazing, and I plan on 15 tomorrow night. But it's like, man, we're just kind of like wondering, hey, what's going to be the bad news about winning football games? Will, like, are you on the same mindset as me?
Man, I am kind of, but it's also new territory. I'll be honest. A lot of people get in the comments and say, hey, all Detroit Lions are winning. You guys don't know how to act. Okay. I don't know how to act. I don't. I'll be honest. It is new territory. I'm not used to being a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that's going out and taking belt to ass every week to people or to teams and just expecting to win. And it has been a roller coaster. I don't know how it's been for other teams. When I equate it to somebody like the Kansas City Chiefs, I do that because they've had these seasons to where they've won a bunch of games. The old school New England Patriots, same thing. I don't know if they've been through the same thing that we're going through. It's been an emotional roller coaster from the injuries. It's you're winning football games, but you are losing players. So I do remember when the Chiefs lost basically their whole offensive line, but I wasn't a Kansas City Chiefs fan. So I don't know if people were just completely jumping off of the bandwagon. And I know a couple of our viewers and, the Detroit Lions fans got offended. I don't mean the true blue fans when I say jumping off of the bandwagon. First thing I mean is the media streams, man. It was like everybody was talking about the Detroit Lions as the #1 team, but then we got a couple of injuries, and then we lost to the Buffalo Bills. And I feel like mainstream media was like, okay, the Detroit Lions are no longer the #1 team. They no longer have a chance to win the Super Bowl. And I'm hearing people talking about the Minnesota Vikings are in the driver's seat to win the division now, and just all of these different things, man. So that's what I mean by jumping off the bandwagon. I would never talk about the True Blues. I know where the True Blues stand, and we're the same way. We're not going anywhere. So I don't know, man. It's just a lot that's been happening, and I have been watching people jump off because of the injuries and the drama, and I'm hearing all types of other rumors and talking about coaches, coordinators, people offended because people are coming back in Teddy Bridgewater and all of these different things, man. It just has been a roller coaster.
Yeah, this has been just an emotional nightmare sometimes. Like it's great winning football games, it's great, but you still have to have those questions of, man, how much more can we lose? All right, we were really like at that brink. Like I don't want to find out the answer to that question, how much more can we lose? Because we keep winning. All right, we lost Marcus Davenport, Aiden Hutchinson. I thought that's where the season was kind of maybe not over with, but we were in trouble. We went out and won 11 games in a row or something like that. Like it's been amazing what this team's done. So to get Alex Anzalone back in real quick, like I remember being at the Tennessee Titans game, off topic. It was halftime. I can't even remember what the score was, but we were just pounding them cheeks. All right. We were just beating the shit out of the Titans. My wife jokingly looked over and goes, "Can we leave at halftime?" I said, no, no, no. I have been on the other side of these ass whoopings too many
Yeah,
times. I'm going to
yeah,
sit here and enjoy this. All right.
yeah.
So,
Revel in it.
regardless of these injuries, man, we're still winning football games. So, this is a good time to be getting healthy. How much healthier can we get? I mean, I'd like to see Carlton Davis back, but that's not going to happen tomorrow night. I think that's why this game is even more important, because if we can get a little bit more help in the secondary, our defensive line just kind of is what it is. All right. It's not sexy. All right. It's not the prettiest girl at the dance. Sometimes that's what you got to show up and you got to dance with. And that's just what we're stuck with. So getting a captain back on defense, a leader, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see Alex Anzalone run out of that tunnel. I think he gets the second biggest pop on defense beside Aiden Hutchinson. So I'm looking forward to see how the crowd reacts tomorrow too.
Listen, let me tell you, the second biggest pop is Brian Branch. Let's Brian Branch.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true, William.
People get crazy. People are throwing up the birds now when Brian Branch come out screaming. It's like people got one group I seen in the front row had the whole "fu." They already know written out on their stomachs. They were lifting up when Brian Branch is coming out. But hey, Thor's is pretty crazy though. I'm just busting chops. It is pretty crazy. I love it, man. Staying on this defense since we're here. Um, I just feel like getting Alex Anzalone back, whether it's this week or next week, my confidence is going to be just unbelievable regardless when he steps onto that football field, because I think that it's going to just change the way that we play football. I think that he's very underrated. I've seen a couple of people talking about, and by people I mean a couple of mainstream media and then people on Twitter talking about how Alex Anzalone doesn't push the needle that big of a um that big of a movement from the needle being pushed forward, man. I think they're just dead wrong. Anybody who believes that. He's
Take
gonna
him to
have us.
church. Let's go.
Yeah,
Man,
he's
buckled
gonna have
up.
us. He's gonna have us in the right stuff in the right sets. And I'm not saying that Jack Campbell doesn't have us in the right stuff, but there's things that we can do with Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone on the field that we can't do with just Jack Campbell and plug and play whoever not named Malcolm Rodriguez, who is just learning our defense. I'm not, it has nothing to do with Quan Alexander's ability. It has a lot to do with he hasn't done a training camp. He hasn't been in our defense for multiple seasons. So he's got a very minute part of our defense that he's trying to learn on the fly. Jack Campbell he hasn't been awarded the opportunity to have guys around him that knows our defense through and through. So Alex Anzalone coming back with a guy like Jack Campbell, who knows the ins and outs of this defense, is going to allow us to do tremendously more than we have been doing. And then you add in an Iffy Melifonwu, it's going to be so much more. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. I think that those two guys coming back is going to make all of the difference. So whether it's this week or next week, when he does get implemented into this defense, it is going to be a huge change in what this defense can do. And I just love his attitude, man. If you didn't see the press conference of Alex Anzalone talking about this defense and whether or not they have enough to win a Super Bowl, he said, if you don't think the Lions got enough to win a Super Bowl with this defense, it's bullshit. And go ahead pretty much and get off of the bandwagon. So I'm with them, man. And then I wanted to apologize because I have been butchering Amik Robertson's name.
I've been thinking
Somebody
it for a
put it in the
long
comment.
time. I've been thinking it for a long
So
time.
listen, you know what truly happened at Tiffin? We had a Robertson on the team, and then I just live in it. I'm just like, I didn't want to correct it while I'm talking it, whatever. But hey, apologies. You guys can correct me all you want in the comments if you catch something. I don't mind that at all. But my analysis of him is dead on. I will say
Yeah,
that.
that's all. That's the most important part.
And I will stand on that island. And just kind of feeding into that for a moment. Hey, Amik's about to have a game. Like, he's about to have a game. And I done messed around. You know how you guys know how I feel after I get to mess around and watch a whole lot of film. I took last night and I watched some even more film. Aaron Glenn, please. Pretty please. Just put him on Justin Jefferson. And again, I'm not about to sit here and say that he's about to just strap Justin Jefferson up, but he's going to be a problem for Justin Jefferson. At minimum, just an annoyance. If Justin Jefferson was choosing any DB to play against tomorrow from the Detroit Lions, I guarantee that he wouldn't choose a Meek, and that's hopefully what he's going to get. I am drooling, itching. I cannot wait to see that matchup on Sunday. Please, Aaron Glenn, give it to me.
21 versus 18. Can't wait for it.
Need it.
I gotta give you another little golf clap, William, because I can't remember how long ago it was, but you said, and you're right. I knew you were right at the time, that the NFL is a copycat league. All right, when a team sees that you have a weakness, they're going to exploit it until you figure out how to stop it. All right, and I think what the Buffalo Bills did is they did just that with our linebackers. All right, if they were getting not wide receivers, running backs matched up on our linebackers, Ezekiel Turner, and it was a mismatch. All right, and I texted you last week the same thing. I saw Jalen Reeves-Maybin matched up one-on-one with a running back, Guerrero from the San Francisco 49ers, and I just said, this is a problem. And you told me this is exactly what the Buffalo Bills were doing. Kyle Shanahan sat down, watched the tape, and said, their linebackers cannot cover speedy running backs. All right. The Minnesota Vikings have a speedy running back in Aaron Jones. He can catch some passes. I'm not going to say he's an elite pass rusher, but he's elusive. He's a quick little running back. I think this provides a little wrinkle for what they can and can't do on offense. That copycat with Alex Anzalone and Jet Campbell out there now instead of Ezekiel Turner and Quan Alexander, not as likely to be a successful play. Can it still happen? Yeah. Is it more likely? I don't think so. I think Alex Anzalone is much better covering running backs, tight ends. I think he's a much better cover linebacker. I think he's phenomenal against the run. Like, for people saying that this doesn't move the needle, I'm concerned with how much playing time he gets with this for him because, like you said, we don't want any setbacks. Let's win this game. Let's give him another week to heal. Then we don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah. I think the bottom line is I can't sit up here and tell you that. And I think this is where people will go with it when they say that he's not going to push the needle. I can't sit up here and tell you that he's going to beat Quan Alexander in a 40-yard dash. I don't know if he is or he isn't, to be honest. I don't know what their 40 times are. I don't know what the athleticism is. Same thing with guys like David Long and whatever. These are guys that do play the game fast, right? Especially when they know what's going on. But what I can tell you is he's going to play inside of our defense faster, and he's going to find better angles and more inches to plays because he's going to dissect and execute our defense faster. He's going to process what's going on and execute our defense way faster than anybody who's just coming into it and learning it. And I think that's going to make the difference for these running backs out of the backfield. Running backs out of the backfield takes time. It takes time. It takes time for you to get out of the backfield. It takes time for you to out leverage that linebacker, right? So if our defense is being processed that much faster, and when I take two guys who don't know the defense or just know it at a very minimal level, and I put in Ife Melifonwu and Alex Anzalone, that processing speed is going to be way faster. We're going to find the better angles. We're going to find more inches to that play, and I think that it changes things tremendously because a lot of the time, man, and even if you watch those plays to like Ty Chandler, it was the linebacker was right here, and then he's just a step ahead of him, and he catches it and he makes plays. That's all the difference if you have one of the best quarterbacks in the free world making that pass, hitting that guy in stride. It's going to be big plays. But if you change that and he's right on top of his hip or that guy never gets out leveraged, it's all the difference. So Yeah, man. If you think Alex Anzalone isn't going to push that needle, and if he Melifonwu, I think you're nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this. And listen, guys, if you've been watching Detroit Den 3-3 for a while, you know we don't get on here. We don't talk about every single roster move. All right.
No.
When we waive Michael Badgley, we don't hop on here and claim that it's huge news. All right. This is not the CNN of Detroit Lions. All right. We're here to entertain and inform. Has to be something that we're both interested to. All right. Michael Badgley and stuff like that. What's old boy's name from the Canadian League with all the sacks last year that everyone was like, I can't remember his name.
Matthew Betts.
Matthew Betts. Like, we didn't get on here and talk about him because we just kind of knew, like, hey, this dude's not making the team. Maybe he does.
We were getting
maybe.
hammered for that too. Remember, like people were going bananas.
Yeah.
James Houston, people were going bananas. Will, you think James Houston sucks? You don't know anything about football. You're an idiot. Blah blah. Like whatever. Man.
You know what I was
Steve,
doing just before we came up here? You know what I was doing just before we came up here? Watching the Cleveland Browns game. You know who I don't see on the field?
James Houston, not a problem.
Houston. Yeah. So yeah, we don't talk about we don't talk about every single roster move, but these two today, Alex Anzalone and William, we're getting Khalif Raymond back as well. How do you think that?
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you think? Hey, you can't mention one without the other. I think these are both huge additions.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, man, I felt like we were kind of disrespecting Khalif, and it's not something that I meant to do. I was just super excited about hearing that Alex Anzalone may be back, and I kind of felt like the momentum of Khalif coming back has been happening. So, but yeah, man, it's another, when you talk about three facets of football, it allows us to play that third special teams facet of football, even at a higher level. So those punt returns now, instead of having a guy who isn't on our active roster, typically, no disrespect, back there catching punts, or, you know, your boy, and who was also on this list, Steve. I told you that it was going to happen. TK85 back to the practice squad, you know, instead of having him back there, again, no disrespect to your boy. If I'm choosing between TK85 and Khalif, it's going to be Khalif. Not many ahead of TK85, but Khalif happens to be one of them. I think he can change field position, potentially take one to the crib and get us an extra touchdown that we may not have, sudden change, momentum, all of the things, man. I'm very excited for Khalif to be back with the Detroit Lions, man, on the field.
You missed something, William. Two
what
things,
I missed?
Actually. Number one is I have Brad Holmes's ear. Okay. I told you yesterday, if Tom Kennedy is not on this team, the chances for a Super Bowl are out the window. All right. Brad Holmes probably looked at this and said, yeah, man, I got to reevaluate. Maybe I was wrong waving him. Do I need to pull off like a late season trade that I can't even do to get Tom Kennedy back on the team? I got to get this guy back on the roster. Number two, most importantly, we have to force the Vikings to actually punt the football for Khalif Raymond to be a factor on the special teams game, because I don't think he'll be bringing many out of the end zone on kickoff, but just from what he does as a wide receiver as well, like I think that's significant enough to welcome his return. And we started with Alex Anzalone because that's obviously like the question mark going into the game is how's his defense going to do? So we got to talk about that first. But I think Khalif Raymond's right up there. I think he provides another wrinkle. He's another wide receiver. You know, I really like our wide receiver room after we added Timothy Patrick. Now we get Khalif Raymond back. It's another weapon for Jared Goff. I said my key of the game on offense was Jared Goff. If he's identifying where these pressures are coming from and he can get the ball to the right people in the right space, we're going to be set up for some big plays. Yeah, that's another person that Khalif Raymond's capable of doing that. He's capable of some big plays.
He definitely is, man. He's had some special plays this year. I think one of those were against Minnesota, where he absolutely took Stephon Gilmore's pants. He had Stephon Gilmore on skates. I think he made him fall down. I have to, well, maybe I'll repost that. I think it's just the week, and a lot of you trolling Vikings fans like to get in here. So make sure you follow the X page so you can get Stephon Gilmore getting his pants taken off again. But yeah, man, happy to have him back nonetheless, man. It's just another addition for this football game that will be huge. But you're right, Steve. I still think we're going to have to get some stops on opportune times. I don't think that we're going to stop this Minnesota Vikings team from getting yards. But as you say all the time, nobody gives a F about you going from 20 to 20. It's about keeping you out of the end zone. If we can hold you to a couple of field goals, if we can get you off of the field, we'll be just fine.
Yeah, and end zone to end zone. I don't care if we give up 1,200 yards of total offense, as long as we win this game. All right, I understand what our defense is. Dan Campbell came out and said exactly the same thing. He goes, I don't care how pretty it is. I just need to win the game by 1 point. That's kind of what our mindset was last year. We've talked about it before. Brad Holmes has addressed a lot of things defensively in the offseason. Injuries happen. Aaron Glenn doesn't have a full deck of cards to play with. It's just kind of the way the season's turned. Emotional roller coaster. That's what I was referring to. It's been up and down, but two big returns. All right, Alex Anzalone is a potential big needle mover. For me, the only question I have is he 100% on the field every snap? We'll see. Don't know. Khalif Raymond, kind of the same question. Big in special teams, but if we're not forcing punts, he's not really going to be a factor on that asset. So we've got a lot to look for this game, guys. Anything else tonight, Will?
Last thing I want to finish is with a question, and I think me asking the question is going to tell you how I feel about it, but I want to see if you and everyone who's hung around to the end of this thing, how do you feel about this question that I'm going to pose right now? You mentioned it earlier in the episode. Excited to get Carlton Davis back on the field after that broken jaw. The dude was playing some pretty doggone good football before he got hurt. If Carlton Davis comes back healthy, do you kick Amik Robertson off of the field? Yes, sir.
I don't know, because I like Terrion Arnold and what he's done too. I think a lot of people beat him up. I mean, listen, at the beginning of the year, the guy was kind of a problem with some pass interference calls. But other than that, I think Terrion Arnold's played good football too. But I don't know. I mean, our DB room, that's a good problem for Aaron Glenn to have, I guess, because maybe we can use, I don't know, Will. I don't know. I don't know if you can kick him off the field, but I don't know who you sit. I don't think Terrion Arnold's done anything to lose his job either. So
I don't think so.
I wouldn't want to be in Aaron Glenn's shoes. So I don't know. Honestly, politicians answer, but really, I don't know how you kick him off the field, but I also don't know how you give him Terrion Arnold's job, because I don't think he's done anything to lost it. So that's up there, AG, I guess. How do you feel about it?
I think that Terrion Arnold and Amik Robertson stays on the field, and maybe Carlton Davis comes back as a nickel guy, and I don't know if he can tackle the way that Amik can tackle inside of the box. That would be the only thing that would be a question mark for me. But when you're playing that nickel, if I want somebody to tackle, I'm probably just going to put Ife Melifonwu at the nickel if it's third and medium, third and short, and I'm worried about you running the football. So there's a lot of questions, but Terrion has been playing some doggone good football. I just need him to finish plays better. I've said that, and I'll stand on that. And he has been better. He's been progressively getting better through the season. And I just don't know how you take Amik off of the football field. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Amik is my favorite corner of the Detroit Lions currently. And outside of probably who just went on the IR, Sauce, Amik's probably my favorite corner in the league. I'm not saying that he's the best corner in the league. That's not what I'm saying, before you guys go crazy on me. But I love what he offers offensively. He is an offensive man. He said it himself, but he is an offensive man through and through, but just happens to be playing defense. I see it. I see it when he's out there. Anytime that ball is a 50-50 ball, even though he's 4'11", he's going up and competing for the football. And if you big body him, you better put that football away quickly. Otherwise, he's punching at it and ripping at it. He's hunting the football, as Coach Glenn asks those guys to do. Even though he's a smaller guy, he plays like he's 6'2". Man, he hasn't overtaken BB as my favorite player on the Detroit Lions, but he's getting close.
Update: Will Ford is actually a Jets fan in Lions gears. That's all I heard from that segment.
Hey, Lindsay's from Detroit.
Diehard Jets fan, has Aaron Rodgers tattoo on his butt cheeks. Huge Jets fan. Yeah.
No, I'm not even gonna do
listen,
it.
I don't think anyone has their hands full more than Robertson tomorrow. All right, that's just it. Like we said in our game day show, 5 catches for 60 yards for Justin Jefferson. We can live with that. If he's getting off for 12 catches, 190 yards, and 2 touchdowns, we probably got a problem on our hands. So my pick was 99, Zadarius Smith. Amik Robertson doesn't have to do anything. It was Zadarius Smith putting him on Sam Darnold on his ass. But until I see some consistency, 21 versus 18 is a matchup to watch tomorrow, guys. So we wanted to hop on here tonight, talk about some roster news. Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.